Hi, I'm Kai, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can create track crossings using the new crossing tool available in Ultimate Mixed Errors and JP Error Overhaul 1.6. The whole point of this guide is to show you how to attach these two paths onto your tour in a way that doesn't break the tour. Because once you have these two paths attached, you can connect any path in the game to them and Git will walk right through. Now before we start, there's a couple of rules you need to follow, otherwise your tracks won't work. First of all, Jeeps follow the rail. If they find they have no more rail to follow, they'll just despawn. So, for example, if we add a regular path here, the Jeep will despawn as soon as it touches it. So instead, we only use the path for junctions. See, the rail goes all the way through, and so do the Jeeps. Next, all the tracks you place down, including the toolpaths, need to be connected to other tracks on both ends. Otherwise, the entire path will be considered incomplete. For example, but when you attach it back to the main track, there you go again. So we need to create crossings on junctions and then, one way or another, have them loop back in on themselves. So how do we create junctions? Well, Jurassic World Evolution works on a node-based path system. So if I were to create a bit of path here, what that actually does is creates two nodes, one here, and then connects them by a path. And you can actually see that happening when you try to build a different path off this one. Because when you build that path, and then delete the original path, you are still left with that one cheap path node. So the way we create a cheap path junction is we build a cheap path, build a normal path off that, and then delete the original path. And this is the exact same way it works with a tour track. So to create a crossing junction, you create a crossing path, attach a genuine track to it, delete the original bit of path you created, and then attach them back up together again. And there you go. You've got a junction now, and you can attach any path onto that. And as you can see, the rail goes all the way through it. And so do the Jeeps. Next, we deal with the connection issue. So, like I mentioned, if you build a little bit of path out of the junction, that will make the track incomplete. Now, the way you solve that is by attaching that path back up to some other part of the track. So, for example, you can just attach it back to itself, and that will work. But admittedly, it looks a bit shit. One way to deal with this is to create a second normal path junction like so. And then just attach the two junctions together. And of course, this can be done however you like. Attach path to it, and yeah, it looks pretty good. But there are better ways of dealing with this, which is exactly why the mod comes with dirt paths and invisible paths. Dirt paths are just the same as invisible paths, but you can see where they're being placed, so they're a little bit easier to work with. So to make this look a little bit nicer, what we want to do instead is create another dirt path junction, somewhere around here. See, that is still a junction, still works. But you cannot see it. And then we can attach an invisible path onto that. And there you go. If you look at the map, it shows exactly what's going on. You have one path going up here, and then that path is attached back into the main tour track. So as far as the game is concerned, the loop is complete and Jeeps can go. Now when you actually make a full crossing, you might be tempted to do something like this, where you have two invisible paths both connected to the same node. This is a pretty bad idea because invisible paths can still be used by guests. So if you give them a second path to follow, they will go down that path. They'll go down both of these paths, and it looks kind of weird. What you want to do instead is something like this, where you have one node for your main path, and then two individual nodes for your invisible paths, because that way guests cannot see where this path is going, it doesn't attach to anything, and so they'll never go down that path. Instead, they'll go down this one. I should also say that while normal paths don't snap to this path, they do still attach to it. So for example, if I were to place a path here, you see it still snaps to the same angles as that path. And what's more, if I attach a path to it, and then attach a second path up here, that building gets attached and guests will go down that path. And of course, this isn't the only way to do it. So if you want to delete this invisible path here, not have it, you can instead build a path all the way around, attach it there, and that will still work. There you go. Looks a little weird, but if that's what you're into, knock yourself out. And there you have it. That's about all there is to these crossings. You can do a lot more with them, of course. Like this abomination. Yes, it works. No, it doesn't work when you load a save because the jeeps have despawned, but you can make it again. I hate it, but I made it, and now it exists. For now, I hope that helped you understand how these crossings work. If you have any more questions, do let me know and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. I was kind of hoping that a video would be a little bit easier to digest than just a wall of text about how this works, so hopefully that helps. And I'll see you around.